What's going on, everybody? Thank you. Thank you. That's right. I'm back for another week of comic books. Yeah, it's already started. It's already started. All right. So, first off, I want to say thank you from the absolute bottom of my heart. All of you who listen to the show. I recently hit just over 1,500 plays. Thank you. Thank you. I don't even have technically 100 episodes and 1,500, so, you know, it's roughly 150 listens an episode, even though it's not really 150 listens an episode. Listenership has been down recently, I'll admit. But, hey, it's a marathon, not a race. And again, from the bottom of my heart, I want to thank all of you guys who listen and enjoy the things that I talk about. If you listen and don't enjoy the things I talk about, still thank you for listening, I guess. So let's go ahead and get started with some comic books, huh? That's right. Deadpool. We're going to start off with Deadpool issue number 7. All right. So a group of kids have gone to hire Deadpool, and this is the Christmas special. So, of course, these kids have come to hire Deadpool to kill Santa Claus. That's right. Apparently, they woke up Christmas morning and had absolutely no presents.
What?
Yeah. So of course, Deadpool takes the job
What?
and heads off to Santa Claus's house in the North Pole. And when he arrives, Mrs. Claus tries to shoot him, and yeah, I, 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 yeah. So it's a Deadpool comic book. What can you do? So Deadpool manages to subdue her in such a way, and she takes him to where Santa Claus is, and he tries to kill Deadpool with a wooden mallet.
What?
I know, it just keeps getting better, doesn't it? So Deadpool kicks Santa's ass,
What?
but of course he can't bring himself to kill Santa. And he's like, what's up, Santa? Like, why didn't you give any of the kids any presents this year? Like, what's the deal with that? And Santa's like, well, I don't have any more elves. I don't have anybody to help me make all of the presents and stuff and to do the job. So I can't do the job. And Deadpool's like, well, what's up with that? So he tells Deadpool this story about one of his elves who got all of the other elves to kind of rebel against Santa. Yeah, rebel against Santa. So all of the elves basically went on strike and left Santa's workshop and now work for Roxxon.
What?
I know, like this whole thing is just one giant like what the fuck is going on here? So Deadpool mounts a rescue to save all of the elves from the Roxxon Corporation, and Deadpool saves Christmas. That's right. Yeah. I gotta tell you, this is probably one of the most absolute ridiculous Deadpool stories I've ever heard in my life, and I enjoyed every second of it. That gets a laugh? That wasn't even a joke. Hey, how is that funny? So that's funny, but apparently Deadpool getting shot by Mrs. Claus with a shotgun was not funny. You can't make this stuff up. Or at least I can't, at least. Somebody did. You know who? Scotty Young made this up. That's what it is. So that's why it's so demented, I guess is a word. I loved every minute of it, so I don't care what you think. Next up is The Walking Dead, issue number 1. I know. You're sitting there, you're like, dude, why are you still reading The Walking Dead? The Walking Dead is like the TV show. It's gotten so boring. Oh my god. Yeah, well, I'm enjoying the ever-loving crap out of it. Okay? Hold your water, because check this out. So, Dwight got arrested in the last issue for causing problems and is thrown into the Commonwealth jail. But his views on the situation haven't changed, and after Rick's conversation with Mercer, Rick might actually be coming around to their way of thinking because Mercer doesn't really like the way things are going either. So Michonne brings Rick and Dwight to her apartment to kind of take control of the situation, and Michonne thinks that things can change, but without any violence. And Rick seems to agree with Michonne. I know, kind of a turn right there. He seems like he's agreeing with Dwight and Mercer for a second, but then all of a sudden it's like he totally agrees with Michonne. Hold up, it gets better. Just as he tells Michonne that he kind of agrees with what he's saying, the governor bursts in the room. She was supposed to come in and bring part of the conversation, but she was obviously supposed to come alone. She didn't. She brought some guards, and she arrests Dwight again, but this time to throw him out of, the Commonwealth, to, go away and never come back. Well, oh Lord, do things just escalate, and Dwight pulls a gun on the governor.
What?
Now, oh man, you would think that with all of Rick's wisdom and experience, he wouldn't come off half-cocked and shoot Dwight in the head. But he does. It's full cock, bang, done. Yes, that was an actual joke. I know, it was a bad joke, but I did it. I did it anyway. It was in the, I wasn't sure. I wrote it down. Do the joke, not do the joke. I did the joke. Survive. Now, Rick thinks that he might actually be on the wrong side of the entire thing. This is the kind of situation I look at where it's like, well, damn, like I said, after everything that Rick and the group have been through, you would think he'd kind of understand a little more of what's going on and, which side is the right side. But then again, I don't know. He's been at this for so long that it's maybe he's just really just kind of sick of going to war all of the time. I would be at this point, but who knows. So let's move on to X-Men, the Exterminated. Now this is a one-shot, and this actually follows the events of the Extermination event where Cable was killed and all of the younger mutants were taken and sent back to where they came from, as such, and kind of set the timeline correct again. Cable is dead. A younger version of himself killed himself, basically committing suicide, as it were. And now is a chance for Hope and Jean to kind of grieve, and Hope wants to run by all of Cable's safe houses and make sure none of his tech falls into the wrong hands. At one of the same houses, safe houses, same house, safe house. Is the safe house same as the safe house? I hurt myself for a second. Don't do that again. Okay, where was I? Oh yes, Deadpool. They find Deadpool at one of the safe houses, and they're like, "Dude, what are you doing?" And he's like, "Look, it's not what you think." And Hope attacks Deadpool. Deadpool then retaliates against Hope, and Jean has to break him up. And Deadpool and Cable kind of had a thing where it's like if one of them dies, the other one goes to their safe house and like erases all of their data, clears out the weapons cache, and basically does the same thing that Hope and Jean are doing right now, making sure that things don't fall into the wrong hands. And Cable's like, "Look, I got what I came for. Whatever you want, it's all yours." And he tells Hope that he knows what she's looking for, but it's not there. So, yeah, mysterious. What's she looking for? We find out later. As they go to each and every safe house, clearing out weapons caches and wiping off data, and Hope can't find what she looks for until they reach a safe house in Alaska. And Hope finds one of Cable's old time slide devices and tries to use it. Jean, of course, stops her, and they kind of have a little moment, as it were. I guess this was really just a one-shot for some closure. It felt like closure. I don't know how long it'll be before Cable comes back I'm certain it won't be too far off. It's Cable. He's not dead, dead. The current MCU version of him is dead. So I'm fairly certain we'll get a brand new Cable here in a few months. I'm sure it won't be for too long. So, it just, like I said, it really just felt like a issue for some closure, and just to kind of, I guess, give us a little bit of a tease of where Hope and Jean's relationship will hopefully go to. No, I'm sorry. I can't take that one. Yeah. So, all right. Let's move on. God, I did not want to do this one. Okay, so I'm going to give a bad review. I know. Hold your jets. This is Freeze, issue number 1, an Image comic debut. And, yeah. So this guy, Ray, gets up in the morning and goes about his normal day. He works in IT. And, he gets called to fix somebody's computer because it's not turning on. And, I have been in this situation before where I've been called and my computer's not turning on. And I get up underneath the desk and it's not plugged in. That's not a joke. That is legit. I've seen it. That one, and my keyboard's not working because it's not plugged in. The mouse isn't working because it's not plugged in. And the monitor isn't working because it's not plugged in. Please don't get me started on that. We will end up down a rabbit hole that there's just no coming back from. So anyway, he plugs in the computer and gets this electrical shock. And when he comes up from under the computer desk, everybody around him is completely frozen solid. I know, just like in those freeze frame videos that just went viral and then stopped going. Thank you very much, internet, for that. But he doesn't know what's going on. First of all, he doesn't know why everybody's frozen solid. He thinks it's some kind of joke. And he goes over and he's trying to figure out what the heck is going on and ends up touching this other woman, and she unfreezes. I know. Just bear with me for a minute. So she doesn't know what's happening. She's like, what the heck just happened? Why are you touching me? He's like, well, you were frozen and now you're not. And she's like, what? And he's like, look around. Everybody else is frozen. She's like, oh my God, what's going on? So she goes over and tries to touch somebody. Nothing. He goes over and touches another person. Unfrozen. Oh my God. So, yeah. So they are trying to figure out what the hell is going on, and they end up at a hospital because one of the women that he touched unfreeze, apparently she unfroze, but the unborn baby in her did not. And so her body thought it was stillborn, so she was going to miscarriage. They took her to the hospital. He unfroze the doctor and some nurses, and they got the baby. The baby is safe. Yay. However, come to realize that the rest of the world still hasn't unfrozen. And, a frozen, populace means that there are all kinds of flying objects in the sky that are coming down. So, things are, just bad. Like, I don't know what this is. I really don't. And, I gotta say that I don't care. I really don't. Nothing about this story made me care about anything. It's like a bad version of Left Behind, as it were. When all of a sudden everybody just disappears in a flash, with the exception of the people who were left behind, quote, quote. And, it's like planes are crashing, obviously, because people are frozen, so that people are dying left and right. There's car crashes going on. I don't know what this is supposed to be. Quite frankly, I don't care. It gets and for good measure. So, yeah, screw that. All right. Let's move on to something just a little better. Not by much, but a little better. So this is Die, issue number 1. Not to be confused with one of my more favorite books, Die, Die, Die. This is something completely different, way the hell out there. Hold on to your butts, because this is about to get real. So, for those of you who are into tabletop gaming, this is a story about a group of friends: Dominic, his sister Angela, Chuck, Matthew, Isabel, and Saul, who have come to Saul's house to play this new kind of tabletop game, supposedly better than D&D and all of the other stuff that's out there. I don't tabletop games, so don't get me started on any of this. So, everybody picks their roleplay character, and everybody gets their own special die, each with a different number of sides. So when Saul, the game master, rolls his own special die, everybody disappears. That's right. Everybody disappears. And 2 years later, mysteriously, they all return. Yeah. 2 years later, they all mysteriously return. Anybody sound familiar here? So, hold on. Let me keep going. So they can't talk about where they've been, what happened. They can't talk about any of it. Anybody asks them, it's like, I can't talk about it, because they can't. So 25 years later, some of them get together for a little reunion at Dominic's 40th, and while at a bar, a package is delivered to the bar containing the bloody die that belonged to Saul. I know, right? Hold on a second. Hold on. Later, they get the band back together, and they end up at Chuck's house. And when they get back together, they roll the die begins to glow, and they all disappear again.
What?
That's right. However, this time, we get to find out where they went.
What?
I know. So, basically, they get tossed into another realm resembling the characters that they had created years ago. Dominic apparently has a power in this realm to curse, and he lifts a curse that he placed on them years ago when they were in there, that they couldn't talk about it, quote, lest shit fall upon the tongue. So they couldn't talk about it, otherwise, taste of shit upon the tongue.
What?
I know. Would you talk about it? I wouldn't. Blech. Just the thought. Blech. All right, moving on, because, okay. All right. So now that they're back in this realm, they meet their long thought dead friend Saul, but he's not the person that he used to be. Yeah. So I'm going to be real honest with you. The first time I read through this, I was like, this is bad. This is really bad. I don't care for this at all. And I actually read it again, and I'm okay with this, I think. I'm going to go ahead and give it a few more issues, kind of see where we get from it. The art I don't dig. It's very dark, very drab, very oily, smeary kind of art. I'm not that much of an artist, so don't get me started on technical terms. But it's just art like that just doesn't speak to me, I guess. But the story probably will. A lot of people I've been hearing talking about this comic book have been calling it kind of a goth Jumanji, which I can understand. You get sucked into a board game, complete the game, it spits you back out. Well, these people have been sucked back into the game. That's right. Because apparently, according to Saul, they have not yet finished the game. So, yeah. All right. It's just weird. So, let's go ahead and move on to the final book of the evening. I know you're all excited. That's right. You can stop listening to me talk. All right. So, now we're going to talk about Prodigy, issue number 1. I was not expecting anything out of this book. I had no expectations of this book, mostly because I had no idea what it was. I read no solicitations on this book prior to picking it up. I just picked it up. So, this follows the story of this kid, Edison Crane, and he is a prodigy. See what I did there? It wasn't supposed to be a joke. So of course, this kid, he's being bullied at school. So of course, he wants to be able to defend himself. So he goes home and he watches just a whole bunch of martial arts movies. Jackie Chan, Bruce Lee, all of that stuff. Chow Yun Fat, all of that good stuff. And he immediately picks up all of these really cool martial arts skills, goes back to school, kicks the crap out of all the bullies, and of course gets suspended. It was the wrong. Thank you. Could you just push the right buttons? I beg of you. All right. So, later, as he continues his evolution and desire of learning, he performs surgery on another kid while his mom and dad are having a dinner party one night. It's just total gross. This kid couldn't have been more than 14, 15, maybe 16 years old. He was cutting open another kid. So how Doogie Howser can you get? Years later, he's all grown up, and while designing a rocket to divert this meteor headed toward Earth, he is at the same time winning a chess tournament against 5 other opponents all at once. So, we get it. Smart guy. Okay, he's smart. We get it. All right, he's smart. They're just going to continue to push how smart this guy is. Then, to top it off, because it's a typical day, he makes a stunt by jumping over the Grand Canyon on a motorcycle, losing it halfway while on fire. Nothing? Nothing. No, he survives. Okay? He does fall into a bucket of water, but still. Yeah, so, I don't know. I guess this guy's bored, I guess, or something. I don't know. But the real stuff starts to happen when he's asked to come to Australia to figure out why these cars, futuristic cars that have no make, no model, no serial number, no nothing on them, keep popping into existence. They keep popping into existence, literally. But they're popping into existence like in the space that a person is occupying. And so when these cars pop into existence, of course, these people explode. Now, this is where the story kind of loses me, because these cars are popping into existence, and in the cars there are dead rats for whatever reason. I guess it's a test, I guess. But they bring him in to check this out, and they show him that there are actually a pair, that the man and a woman had come in one of those cars, and they're unconscious, or they could be dead. We're not really sure. But he has the assumption that this is some kind of invasion, whether it's from another planet or a parallel world, we don't know. But his idea seems to have merit. As a mysterious CIA agent, I know, how cliche can you get? A CIA agent shows up and tell him that he is not far off, and that you gotta keep it kind of hush hush, because most of the governments are in on it.
What?
I know, shock, right? Governments are in on stuff. Hold up, stop the presses. So, yeah, I'm gonna keep reading this. You really feel like this is gonna go somewhere really interesting, and I would like to know where it's going to go. Hopefully, it's going to continue into my box and not into the trash. That was completely the wrong. Yeah, that fail right there. All right. So, yeah, I read it the second time and I enjoyed it a little more the second time around. But yeah, it's weird. And it's got my attention, and weird things don't usually grab my attention like this. So I'm interested to see exactly where this thing goes. My initial impression was, so yeah, we'll give it more chances. And that is it for the comic books for this week. If you're still listening at this point, I have something very special to tell you. So, shh, hold on, come here. I'll whisper it I'm starting a website. That's right, an actual legitimate website. I'm working on it right now. I've got some preliminary pages up, and everything is coming together extremely nicely. I worked on it all weekend. I really did. In between playing the new Anthem Alpha, I didn't get to play for very long because I ended up getting kicked off the server, and then the server never came back online on Sunday, and so I was like, bleh. So I worked on my my brand new website that will be coming soon. I've got a bunch of pictures that I want to upload from past cons and get-togethers and things and stuff, and a lot of really cool stuff coming. So be on the lookout for walkerthegeek.com. And of course, when it goes live, I'll tweet it out, and everybody will get a chance to see it. Yay! Um, I've got a lot of really cool stuff coming in 2019, so just be prepared to be slightly underwhelmed. Thank you. All right, that is it for the show this week. Until next week.